All right, we're live with Jon Kott from the Jon Kott Band.
Yeah, man. It's good to be here, dude.
What is it? Yeah, dude. I was wondering what your talking voice was going to sound like, and it does sound like how I thought it would sound like.
Yeah. So apparently, this last weekend we were actually speaking of that. We stopped by my father's house in Austin after our show Thursday night, and it was the first time my drummer and my bass player had met my dad, and they were freaked out. They were sitting there like it's like sitting in a room with two Johns. I'd never heard that before. I was like, really? I sound like my dad? Or he's? I mean, I guess you. Yeah, I guess that's kind of where that happened. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what people would expect when they hear me, but yeah, I sound like what I sing like.
Yeah,
Similar.
like, yeah, you can definitely like. I've been noticing like the more I talk to people, like actual talk, you can tell like who can sing. I'm starting to pick that out with people, and even people that sound like that don't sing. I'd be like, hey, you may want to try singing. You know, like
You get that voice.
yeah.
There was another time too in the beginning when I was doing at very beginning. I was doing jingles for Little Caesars Pizza, and the guy when I was singing them, he came to me like halfway through. He goes, "I think I want you to talk instead of singing this commercial." I was like, "All right." I didn't end up getting that part too, but whatever. I still had that going. You should talk to Sam Donald. He's one of those people where his voice is going to amaze you when you talk to him. You got to get him on the show.
Yeah, dude, I would love to. I'm actually wearing a shirt right now. He sent me
Yay!
a bunch of
Help him
shirts.
make all those logos. Yeah.
So you were doing jingles for Little Caesars?
Yeah, right. I was living in Detroit, and they were kind of hard up for country people in Detroit, so they found me. Which at the time I was doing more rock than I was country, so I was like, I mean, I could pull it off. It's just I didn't sound like what they wanted me to sound like. I don't think that commercial saw much airtime. Up there, I was still pretty country, I guess.
Yeah, is it on YouTube or?
No, I don't know where it is. This was. I mean, I'm gonna age myself out right now because this was, back in like late '90s, early 2000s. I mean, it was years ago. So it was before the internet. Thank God.
Yeah.
Like before, I guess the internet got big.
Yeah. I have to go on web crawler and ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Go see if you can find it. If you can find it, I'll give you some money because I'd like to. I guess I'd like to hear it too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So like. Now, like living in Detroit, like with pizza, are you a fan of Detroit style, like the pan?
Oh, dude, yeah. I was that was my big thing when I moved down south. I was originally that was the plan was to open up a Detroit style pizza place because I just like people just didn't know about it.
Really?
And I mean, real Detroit, good square Detroit pizza is fantastic. There's a place here in Katy outside of Houston that has they're legit. They're from Detroit. It's legit, and I've introduced our neighbors to it. And anybody that's had it, that's their favorite pizza now. Like if you get a really good Detroit style pizza, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I do like the pan with like the kind of like Cajun crusted cheese.
It's crusted around the sides.
Yeah,
it's burnt up. Yeah, that's great.
So if the music doesn't work, you can always go in the business of pizza.
I'm not kidding. My wife will attest to it too. I can make a pretty damn good Detroit style pizza. I've got a special pan that I use. It's just caked and nasty looking, but it's what you want it to look like. You don't wash it. It's one of those like you want to season the pan. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, doing jingles for Little Caesars and
yeah. I've had a strange career, my friend.
Like when I googled you, it was all the interviews. It was weird. It was just like where haven't you been? Is it an easier question?
I mean, yeah, like that's just like I say, it's been this bizarre career of. I think that's just why I've kept going. I've outlived so many different guys that definitely belong to still be in it right now. That we're like throw the hat in, I'm out. I'm going to go get a day job. I'm going to raise my family. I could have tapped out at any point, but it's just there's always been something. Every time I'm getting close to getting tired or it's boring. Something just around the corner pulls me right back in and I end up sticking it out. And I've always been grateful for it because, I mean, like I said, it's paid my bills very well for years and everything's gone well for me. I can't complain. Yeah. As long as I physically can keep doing it, I'm going to keep doing it. It's just in me. It's what I know how to do too. At this point, I don't know what else I would do, other than make pizza.
You have the pizza thing. It's always the fallback.
Yeah, it's always, yeah.
So, are you just in two bands? Just Jon Kott Band and Mo Giles? Did I
And
say that right?
that's about to end. I mean, I don't know if you saw that. I put up a post on some of the social media stuff. Like I'm gonna finally end the Mojiles thing. I fell into that when I moved to Pensacola back in 2009. I moved to Pensacola, Florida. A band, they were already Mojiles band was already in the scene and they were going. And then they found me and I joined in with them. I was just doing solo stuff at that point. I was just a solo dude. I didn't want to be in a band anymore. I just wanted to play at my own pace. I wanted to be my own dude. I was done with bands. This was after we toured with Nickelback and did a bunch of big stuff with big people. At that point, I was kind of burned out, and I'd kind of burned a bridge in my own mind that I did not want to go back into that world. I wanted to just play my guitar and sing songs I wanted to, and not have to deal with all the drama in a band. But those guys pulled me in, and a big agency came in out of Montgomery, Alabama, that was throwing big shows and better money at us. And next thing I knew, we bought a tour bus and we were traveling all over the South and just back at it. But those dudes got tired of it real quick because it got extensive. Like we were just on the road constantly. And then they all bounced, and I was sitting there with the bus. I was like, well, I'll buy the bus and I'll keep the band. And I just kept it. It just became this machine of just, gigs just kept coming. Money kept coming. More doors were open. And people were just, so I was like, it's a great way to pay bills. I can still do my own stuff. I can still write and have all this stuff, but this is just kind of my day job kind of a thing. That's the way I looked at it. And I kept it going, and I've kept it going for a long time now. But now that JKB, I feel better about the songs right now. I feel better about the guys I got in the band. I feel better about every direction of it right now. Being back in Texas and being able to push it hard here has really made me just say that's what I want to focus on. And I'd rather just stop wasting. It's a lot to do too with booking two bands and dealing with two different bands, and just all of it is too much for me to do myself. And I'm kind of a control freak. I do it all myself. So we're going to put Mojiles Band to rest. July 5th is going to be the last show for that, and then it's just going to be JKB straightforward. So it'll be nice for me.
Yeah, because for a while it would be like suggested, and I'd see it. I'd be like, dude, that's Jon Kott. What is going on?
That's the other thing. It's been very confusing. There are people like from the TikTok crowd. There are people that will come out to the shows to see us, and then there's a big backdrop that's hanging behind the stage. It says Mojiles Band. And they're like, "What the hell is this? What are you doing? Are you sitting in with them, or who?" It's getting too hard to explain. It's confusing people. So yeah, it was just time. Like I said, the fact that Jon Kott Band's been getting more traction makes it a lot easier to it's not just getting rid of something, it's jumping into something else. So I'm ready. Like the Mojiles Band has been fun, and it's been fruitful, and I still have tons of connections, and I'm sure the fan base will hopefully just come over with us and everything will be fine.
Yeah Not like changing lead singer in a band that's always a very difficult thing. Yeah, that's a huge, especially with a voice like yours. I've only seen it work a couple of times, and it's obviously, but like you said, like it's a known thing, and now you get to focus on your own name, because that's
it's easier.
Yeah,
because I got tired of being Mojiles for a long time, because that's who everybody thought I was. They're like, "Hey Mo,
yeah, what's up, Mo?"
Mo.
Yeah, at least you won't forget the name of this band, right? Well,
I'm right there. Yeah, that's the only bummer is I can wear these shirts all the time. I don't feel stupid, but I'm gonna feel pretty stupid wearing a Jon Kott shirt, so I won't be able to do that anymore. I'll lose a little bit there.
Yeah, like do you feel weird wearing your own merch?
I don't. When it's this, I don't. I'm like, I don't care, because nobody knows what even that is. But I mean, they know enough. I don't wear it to shows. I'll wear it like around the house and at home and stuff like that. We put out so many shirts. So my closet, it's ridiculous. So my neighbors probably think I'm crazy. They must think I'm an ultimate fan of this band, because it's just every day of the week. But yeah, no, I'll wear these, but I won't wear the Jon Kott. You wear the Jon Kott ones.
Yeah. It's funny is somebody asked like Zach Wild, they were like, "Why do you wear that's all you wear is your own merch?" And he goes, "So I don't forget what band I'm in." And I thought that was a funny answer, because he is a walking billboard for his own band.
Yeah, Zach can get away with it. Who's going to tell him he's stupid?
Yeah,
who's going to say that's dumb? Not to Zach Wild. When I first saw Code was wearing all his own stuff. I'm sure he probably still does too, but some guys get away with it. And I may if there's a shirt I really like, all right.
Yeah, it's the same. Like, how do you feel like when people? Of course, it was a PCU where it's like you're wearing the band of the show you're going to. Don't be that guy. Like, wouldn't you prefer like
yeah, the movie.
Yeah, like guys come to your show wearing your band shirts. Like, wouldn't you prefer that?
Would I prefer it?
Or I mean, obviously you would prefer they probably buy another one too.
We see it all the time. Like in the Mojiles ones, it's nonsense. Like at our shows, I love it. I love it because it makes us feel it's great. And then I think the venue loves it even more because it just shows it. But it also makes other people buy more shirts, and more people buying shirts is better for us. So I love it. I get it. It is weird. It's kind of Backstreet Boyish kind of a thing, but it's cool. I'm into it.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
So how'd you break your rib?
I didn't break my rib. Let's put it that way.
Oh.
Somebody else broke my drummer is my drummer's kind of he's a stronger than he knows he is, I guess, kind of a guy. And he was helping me out one night and moved me out of the way / threw me out of the way. And in the process of that, I fell on my rib and I hit my rib. And at that point, I knew right then. And I knew I felt it when it hit because I lost my breath. I was like, and it was a gnarly looking bruise. Like the next day it was purple. We had a show to do the next night. And I was telling those guys, I'm like, I can barely breathe. I've messed up my ribs plenty of times in the past. I'm kind of a rough person, but I definitely knew at that moment that I had something seriously wrong. But it took a couple weeks for me to finally go in and get an x-ray because it just wasn't getting better. Like I was having, if I laughed too hard or if I twisted somewhat, it felt like something was stabbing and I would take my breath away and it would paralyze me for like a minute. And it was severely painful. So when I finally went in and got the x-ray, and that's when I knew it because as soon as the tech was looking at it, she was looking in the other room. She goes, "What did you do to your rib?" I could just tell the way she said it because she couldn't tell me what it was. She's like, "I can't read this for you. I can't tell you what it said," but I could tell by her reaction there was a broken rib for sure in there. And then when I saw it separated, I was like, "That's what it is for sure. It's definitely." But this is, and now, like I said, I've had plenty of probably bruised ribs or separated or cracked or something in the past. This when you break a rib completely like this, it's a whole nother pain.
Yeah,
it's been an exciting month of trying to get through singing. Like taking, and I don't. You probably haven't seen me sing live, but I sing. I'm a projector. Like I push. I'm not a quiet singer, so I take big breaths in and I use a lot of my torso when I'm singing. Probably not a very good way to sing, but I push, and so it's been tough getting through a lot of our shows. Just trying to figure out a way to not sing as hard as I usually do, but it's definitely getting better. I can't work out or anything yet. I can't do anything strenuous, but I'm singing better. It's getting better.
Yeah, dude. Breaking a rib's weird. They just like wrap you up and say, "Come back or don't."
But they won't even do that anymore. Like they won't even wrap you up anymore. No, like my doctor was like, "We can't wrap you up because I guess it like it'll induce you to breathe, a lighter, and there's a possibility that you could get fluid in your lungs." And so I guess they claim it's worse for you now. So they were just like, deal with it. Don't do anything crazy. Try to let it heal. And my whole thing is it's sitting like this. Like it's not together. I'm like, how's it going to go back together?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Have you broken a rib before?
I don't know if I actually broke it, but I'd been at the hospital and they were just literally like, well, we're not going to do anything either. If it is, it's like I broke, like breaking a toe. They're like, yeah, it's broken. Put it back in your shoe.
What are you going to do? It's not like it's one of those. And I knew that going into it. I'm like, there's nothing, because my chase was immediate. Like, do you need to go to the hospital? And I'm like, there's nothing that's just going to give me a bill to do that because there's nothing they can do if it is.
Yeah.
But eventually I was like, maybe I should just go get this looked at just to make sure that there's nothing else going on, but because it was just hurting too much. But yeah, it's done. What's done is done. Lesson learned. Don't let your drummer help you anymore.
Yeah. The drummer I play with, he's a big intimidating fellow too. So he kind of gets what he wants.
Yeah, Chase doesn't really get what he wants unless he just he's a really sweet guy. He's a great kid. He's my number 2 in the band. He's the guy that helps me with everything. But when he doesn't know his own strength, he's the guy. Like every people ask. There's always been, because we're rough and tumble kind of guys, and we get a little wild after shows and stuff. Everybody always asks, who are you the most scared of? And it's always Chase. He's the nicest guy. You could probably punch that dude 20 times in the face and he wouldn't hit you back. But if he did hit you back, you would be in a world of pain. Like he's that guy. If he decides to hurt you, he's going to hurt you pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice to have security
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. He's that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a speaking of that, there was the one time in my life that I've had to jump off stage and punch somebody. That luckily he was in the band because it happened in Tyler, Texas, and some dude hit me square with a glass just like this.
Oh,
Flew straight up and it hit me straight in the mouth, and I was looking down and I was singing and I didn't know what it was, and I just saw blood coming out of my face and I felt it swell and I was like, what the hell was that? And I saw the glass on the ground and I looked out and it was East Texas dudes are cowboys, man, and they were literally rodeo cowboys in the show, and it was a packed pit. And some dude just had a problem. I think he thought that his girlfriend liked me or something was going on, and he lost it. And I had to decide what to do. And I jumped into that pit full of those cowboys where he had about 13 of his friends with him, and I just wailed him. And as soon as I did, I got pulled from each direction by the other cowboys that were with him. And luckily, Chase came through that crowd like a bowling ball, dude. I just saw people going. He came in there and saved me because there were people with chairs ready to go. That's when it's good to have a dude like that on your team.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's people like some of the places you play. I mean, they're serving alcohol. It can get rowdy.
Yeah.
And like I have a lot of stories of stuff like that, and I've had like we played an entire, like it was an all out brawl. Everything's getting broken, and I started loading everything up. And I remember the owner come up. He goes, "I got insurance, and I paid you to play to one." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like,
he doesn't
"Yeah."
care.
He's like, and at the end of the night, we're watching like the video of us fighting. That there was a big guy, and I was on him like I looked like a fly, and I was trying to choke him out, but I didn't have his neck, and he was wailing me. Here he turns out it was a cousin of someone in the band trying to protect our gear. He was like, "I'm trying not to hurt you." He was like, "Man," and like he's like, "A good thing you didn't get under my chin." I'm like, "Yeah, that was."
Yeah.
He was a big dude, and I love my guitars, and they don't make them anymore. So it's like, oh, come on, man, why are you over here? Why are you on stage left?
You just grab the first person next to you, just start choking them.
It was one of those kind of nights.
Yeah.
I just remember the owner being like, "I got insurance because." Hey, I'm gonna make money off of this, and I was like, all right,
It happens, man. Some bar owners are a different breed, man.
Yeah, like some of them, nothing phases them. They just
that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's like nothing. Like, yep, whatever.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, go and take.
We're selling beer. People buy tickets, go play.
Yeah,
I know those people.
Yeah, because also you want to get the reputation of they couldn't handle their crowd and they had to shut down and whatnot, and that's not a good reputation.
I did shut the show down after that, though. After that happened, luckily though, I think we only had about 10 minutes left to play, and I stormed off the back. I picked up the mic and I told him, "That dude ruined the show. I'm done."
Yeah.
I was mad,
dude.
I didn't care.
That's my worst nightmare is losing teeth. Like,
dude, I couldn't. I don't want to give that dude much credit at all because that was a stupid thing to do, to throw something like that at me. But he hit me square. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe that I have my teeth. I mean, it was a heavy rock glass. I mean, I had a big blue, blister under my lip. He was a good shot because I don't know how he got past the microphone. My head was down like this, and he somehow snuck it in here. It was great shot. That's
terrible.
It was.
People. That is not something you want to do, is throw something on the stage.
No, and it's weird. It was during that whole, this was probably a little less than a year ago, right around the time when all that stuff was happening, where people were getting hit with stuff on stages left and right. People getting hit in the face with cell phones or things like that. Yeah. Just during that same time. It was bizarre. It was weird. Yeah. I didn't want to be part of that group, but I got in there. Yeah, even if it's like something you think's cool. I've done it. I threw a girl's bra up on stage, and it hit the bass player, and he walked off.
He's like, I'm done.
Oh,
I'm like,
but that's just, come on, man. That's
it's,
rock and roll.
yeah, I shouldn't have done it. Like, I like told the guy, like, I was in the VIP section backstage. He's like, "You gonna be cool?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be real cool." Nah. I took it way too like, woo. And yeah, he walked off, and the singer was like, "Where'd he go?" And he goes, "You know what? Screw this." And I was like, "Uh oh."
All
Like,
because of a brawl?
yes.
That dude might have want to look for a different profession. That seems like the most rock and roll thing to happen on a stage. Look at that.
Especially to a bass player. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, right. You're gonna have a bunch of bass players commenting bad stuff out. Especially
yeah. Yeah, I always give him. I love like drummer jokes and bass player jokes, and even like the lead singer. I love the term LSD, lead singer disease, and
Yeah.
like how does the lead singer load in? It's just like click the mic in. I'm done.
Yeah. I do like those too because everybody that knows me knows that I'm the first person in and the last person out. I'm usually sitting there covered in sweat, working harder than anybody. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I just that for me comes back to a control thing. I like to be in control of my stuff. I know how I want it to be. Trust me, I would love to have somebody set my stuff up. I would love it.
yeah.
They'd have to know exactly how to do it, otherwise they'd be getting yelled at by me.
That's funny because if I had like somebody to do that, it's just so much stress, especially when you have to provide sound. And it's just, I am not a fan because every room's different, and you know, like you gotta. There is a science to it, and it can make or break your sound, your set. Like,
dude, my band will. If you talk to them, they'll tell you they would rather me run sound for us because when I put up my own system and stuff, because we have to a lot of the places we play, they still want us to put our stuff up. When I do, they'll say the same. It sounds the best. We all agree, just because but I've also got set scenes and mixes. I know what everything. We know what it should sound like. You know, and my ears are tuned towards what our sound should be. But whenever I run sound, it's a pain in the ass for me. But it sounds fantastic. I mean, don't get me, some of the big venues, I can't touch what they do, but
yeah,
a lot of the rooms you go into, it actually, like you said, it can actually end up hurting you to have some guy that doesn't know how to mix you right. You end up sounding terrible and squealy, and it's not your fault. It's the sound.
yeah. Thankfully, I've only had one unruly sound guy, and it was bad. I vowed to never go to that venue again. And of course, like a lot of the Texas artists, they go to that venue, and I'm like, ugh, here we go again.
You still there? That sound guy still doing it?
I didn't see the sound guy, but they dude, like the guys at the door are jackasses too. They literally walked up to me and Austin Mead and said, "Get the hell out of here." And I'm like I'm like talking. He just got off stage, and I'm like, dude, because I was telling him, I was like, listen, I hate this venue, blah blah. The people here, the bartenders are great, the staff is great. I said it's some. He said something. We brought my buddy's girlfriend is from Lithuania, and she was like, I do not like country music. I don't. And I'm like, listen, now this is totally different. This isn't what you think. And on the way there, she was listening. She goes, "This is country music." I said, kind of, but not. And she was just right to the door, handed the passport. He wanted to know why she had his passport. She said, "Because I'm from here," and he said something to her rude. I'm like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
come on. Yeah, and it was cool. It was like she ended up loving it and she was like, like that stuff you think's country, it's not country. And listening to her try to explain like Texas is different than the rest of the stuff that her friends had heard over in Europe. I was just like, that's kind of like what I'm trying to do on TikTok.
Yeah. It's true. It's great. Like, it's kind of like a naked eye looking into it, like a little kid looking at it for the first time going, this isn't country music,
Yeah.
That's Texas has it. And Austin, I love Austin. I don't think he doesn't sound country at all to me. Like it's a lot of that stuff where I'm like, I get it. He's got a little bit of twang in his voice. That dude's a rock star, man. Austin's just a rocker, man.
Yeah, he there's a lot of songs that like I liked on record and didn't really, they didn't really shine. They're like, "Oh, this is good." But live, there's like obviously a different dynamic, and some of the songs where I just was like, "This is good," but live it was just like, "Whoa." And it's like, man, I wish it's weird, like not weird, but I do not like live albums. I find the
Yeah,
crowd
they're tough.
distracting. Like I'm
Yeah,
not feeling the vibe of like, woo, you know what I mean? I'm like, shut up.
yeah.
Like, but yeah, he was great. It was also funny. I guess he hasn't spent a lot of time up in the Northeast. He was like, dude, these rats are huge. I was like, yeah, yeah. And he was obsessed. He was like, y'all got potholes. He goes, and we almost didn't make the gig because you got holes in your road. I'm like, dude, I ride a motorcycle up here. I know exactly what you're talking about. I said, yeah,
Most crazy stuff the roads, man.
it is cool when you guys do come up here and never experienced it, because like I just remember like my first time in Texas, like if people were like, how did you like it? Was it different? I'm like, no. From what I saw, I was like, no, I thought it'd be more Texas like. But then it's all like stereotype of me growing up, like caddies with the long horns on the front. You know what I mean? Like,
Everybody dressed like Boss Hog.
yeah.
I want that Texas.
I was like, no, it's pretty normal. And they're like, normal. What was cool about Texas is because everything up here is so old, like to see like kind of like a modernized highway system.
Yeah.
Because normally like
was it just for that fest that happened, the Gordy's thing?
yeah, Highway 30, Texas. Yeah. I just
you
remember.
So you went to Fort Worth and Dallas. You were up there in that area, right?
Yeah, we went to the stockyards.
Yeah.
It was funny. Is like Steve was like, I need to know what gate, like right now. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm like looking around. I'm like, all right, this is a big airport. And then to come to find, he was like, yeah. And like we were like 25 minutes in the car, and he goes, yep, we're still at the airport. We're still open. Yeah. I'm like, dude, this is nuts. I was like,
a highway system inside that place.
Yeah, it was. He was telling me it's got its own like post office, but it was a breeze to get to. I'm like, I don't know why I don't come down here, fly out with a guitar and play down here, because it was the flight said 4 hours, but we did it in 2. Did it over in 2.
You got there?
Yeah, and I was like, did I get on the right plane? This said 4 hours, and I'm like, done my movie, and then yeah, on the way back, I'm like, it's just a little bit longer than flying to Nashville, which I always went to Nashville, because Nashville is like an hour and a half for me, and to fly down in there, I was like, wow, man, I really don't have a reason not to go down to Texas. Is probably one of the elements.
Dude, you should be down here way more often, especially with all the love and respect you got from people around here too, man.
Yeah,
Good God.
I would love to go. Like, I was thinking about like even like hiring people to go around and like get me footage, because like I always tell people, like, no one wants to see me. You know what I mean?
I beg to differ. I feel like you'd be a rock star if you showed up in clubs.
It's funny. It's I was talking to somebody. He lives in I guess around Shreveport. He goes, "You got to be like famous." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not famous." And he was like, "You mean to tell me you could walk around in Texas and no one would notice you?" And I was like, well, I haven't really walked around. I said, but at Highway 30, but a lot of people were from like Mile Zero, which I thought was amazing.
Really?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people from Mile Zero there, and they're very like dedicated.
Yeah,
like, that's
Key West people, or just people that went to that fest.
Just went to Mile Zero. Yeah, because I know if I lived or could afford to live in Key West, I don't think I'd leave.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
nice. It's a different world down there, but like you said, if you could afford to live down
there. Yeah, until the hurricanes come.
Until that Fantasy Fest, there's some crazy stuff that goes on there that takes on that city. Gets wild down there, man.
Yeah. It's funny is, people are like, welcome to island life. And I'm like, well, I kind of grew up on an island. And they're like, where? And I'm like, it's Jersey. That doesn't sound good. But I was like, technically it's like an island. Like, you drive across the bridge and there's the Walmart. So it's not really like a secluded. It's not like Key West where it's like you got to drive to leave.
Yeah.
But that was a cool scene. That was the first time I'd ever that was the first time actually going to a festival and realizing like there's a lot of like rules and stuff I didn't realize on the other side of that gate. Is like I was just kind of like, I really didn't know what to do. It was funny as people were like, you've never been to a festival? And I'm like, no, not really. I said, when you go to a show, up around like where I'm from, it's like an opener, maybe an opener or two, and the band, and that's it. You go home. And I was like, it seems like in Texas, you can see like 5 bands in one place and still have enough time to go see. And it just blows my mind that just
what you should be is you should be in town. I think it just ended. Did Larry Joe Taylor just end, or is it going on right now?
I think it's over. That was one where like it's just like, where do I
You
stay?
want to put that on your docket for next year, dude. I've never been, but it looks amazing. That one looks like a killer. I mean, the lineups are usually amazing. William Clark Green's one of my favorite of all time. And like, I just like I want to see him, and I just saw a clip of his set there, and I was just
the kangaroo,
Rose Queen, and it just everything sounded. I was like, I want to go there so bad. It looks like the best place to see a concert.
So it's like William Clark Green, a guy like you would want to write with.
Oh God, I think I'd be intimidated and scared at first with that dude, just because I know so much of his music, but it would be one of those getting over the anxiety and awe of being in the room with that dude. But like Josh Serrato, he's been mixing some of the last few songs for us, so I've kind of, that was a big deal for me, just having him involved on the stuff, just because to me, before he was Co's guy, he was the guy in Williams' band. So having him do that stuff, so it's kind of ripped it off. It's made it a little bit easier for me now that I've opened that door up with him. So maybe I'd be a little bit, but yeah, if I could write a song with that dude, that'd be amazing. He's fantastic. I mean, you obviously know he is.
Yeah, it's funny is that people always give me stuff when I say this is my Keith Whitley. And people are like, they're like, you can't say that. I'm like, yeah, I can. I was like, that's the one freedom I have, is like all these legends that people have grown up with. I don't have memories tied to songs with, hunting trips, riding with my dad in a truck. You know what I mean? Like I can pick and choose.
And he's yours.
Yeah, like I got to see him live, and he's everything about him, like his personality, his songs can go from like gut wrenching to fun and back to happy and the stuff you can relate to, and it's all, and he always has a smile. I've never seen in his interviews, and I think he's a lot smarter than people give him credit for, because everything I've seen him do, unless he has a team of people that are like, hey, would it be great if you do this and add this? And I love, like, I don't know. It's just like when I was telling Steve, I was like, I feel like he's probably the smartest guy in every room he walks into, but he doesn't want everybody to know. Like, I
think that's what a real smart person does. That's a real smart person trait.
Like a daywalker. They walk amongst us.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Like, I went to see him, and like, he was one of the first people that, like, he sent me a message. If it was him, he said, hey man, I really appreciate what you're doing. If you ever come to any of my shows, let me know. I'll put you on a list. And I was like, okay. And then he finally came around to where I could go see him. And it was around like COVID. And I saw his tour bus, and I'm like, man, I should just go knock up on the door and just be like, hey, like. And then I totally like wussed out. And I was like, he'll be at the merch booth after the show. And I was waiting. And I was like, he didn't come out. And then like 2 days later, I got a COVID exposure warning. Apparently somebody in the band or whatnot. I was like, oh, yeah, maybe it's a good thing, to be in a tube with somebody with COVID. But it was a good show.
Where was it? It was up north?
Yeah, it was in Sellersville, PA, in a really old theater.
How does he do up there?
There wasn't a lot of people there. The theater itself it's weird. I could see people loving him and not going there because it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not easy to get to. And yeah, I think he would have done better somewhere else. Because like I recently just saw Tanner Usry, and he had a great crowd.
He's doing fantastic, man.
Yeah, he puts on a great live show. And I was excited. And kind of like in a selfish way, I was like, oh, he's playing here. It'll be like a small crowd. And then I'm standing there and I'm like, Tanner's got some fans up north. I was like, good for him. And I was like, oh, well, I said, I'll just see him next time around. But I did get to talk to him. It's funny. I was like, "Where's Roy?" His dad, and he must have heard me. And he goes, "He ain't here." And he looked over, and I was like, "Oops," because I don't like, I feel like a heckler.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk, but I was having a lot of fun. It was actually the first show and the last show I'll ever wear slippers to.
You wore slippers to a show, dude?
Dude,
You're getting real comfortable, aren't you?
yeah, well, there needs to be a shoe for like lazy people that just stand. I can't believe there's not a big memory foam sole. Like, sign a disclaimer: if you play basketball in these, you will blow your Achilles and/or break your ankle. Like,
I mean, isn't that it's our Crocs? Isn't that what we have now? Is Crocs?
Yeah.
I've never worn a pair, so I don't know if they're comfortable.
They're comfortable, but they're slippery when wet.
I've just never worn them. I've always thought, I'm like, those things look like they would stink. To me, and my son wants a pair, and I see people wear them all the time. I get it, but that's what I figured would be the slipper of our generation.
If you're traveling, Crocs. You can slip them right off, put them right back, and especially like traveling in a pickup truck pulling a trailer, you can't beat you can't beat it. But I had
I'm a flip flop guy, so I'll just do that.
Yeah, it's the slippers I had. They were UGG.
Those are nice slippers, man.
Yeah, it was raining, and I walked through the mud, and everybody there was like country with big boots. Like I wear 14s, and everyone's stepping on my toes. I was like,
"You got a size 14 shoe? How tall are you? I didn't think you were that tall."
I'm only 6'1". Like,
that's still pretty tall, man. Yeah, you're tall, dude.
It's funny is I got big hands too. I got big hands and big feet. My grandfather would be like, "When are you going to grow into them?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man." He used to call me gunboats because I walked around like a scuba diver forever. Because like in like 5th, 6th grade, I was like 6'1" I had the hands, and then all of a sudden I just stopped. My dad's 6'4".
So, yeah, that's a big man.
I'm pretty sure
Steve came too. When Steve came to our show in Dallas, I was like, "Holy crap, dude! I was looking up there, handing him a shot up there."
Yeah, it's funny when he picked me up from the airport. He's like, "Is this weird?" I was like, "No." Oh, that's the one thing I love about like TikTok from the other apps is like it's like personal. Like I already felt like I kind of knew you in a way. But if I just followed you on Instagram and be like, oh, I've seen your pictures and you might have like hearted or something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just something different about this app than, you.
It is. It's weird that you say that because we get people from all the platforms that come to see our shows. And it's weird that you just pointed that out because it is weird. It's like when there are people that come to the shows from TikToks, it almost feels more family. Like when I feel like there's just more interaction. There's definitely more love in TikTok than the other social medias. And for us and for most bands, I mean, it's crazy. It's just a different world.
It's like a social media handshake because like I don't have to really do anything other than swipe up and get, and they can catch you live.
Yeah.
And you duetting and stuff like that. And then like once I get on your algorithm, and that's when you find Sam Don and all those guys, and you go down that path. And that's what I love about it is, that's why like if I'm like doing something, I put my phone down, and if there's a video that I have no interest in that keeps going, I'm like, no, put me back into Texas. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, it does talk like when they talk about banning it, and it's like, I don't know, it's just something about it that just it's more personable. I don't know.
I'll be so shocked and amazed if that really happens. But
yeah, but
I hope it does.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't, because I know a lot of like, dude, like Sam always pops up, and I love his videos. I know it's the same thing. I don't care. You know what I mean? That's what you want with TikTok. You want people to find that. It's a business card. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, well, I need to do more material. No, you don't. Take your best stuff, put it out there. I follow you. I'm going to see the other stuff too. And he was saying like, I don't know if this gets banned. He said, let's get to 500,000. And I was like, 500,000 what? And I clicked. I was like, whoa.
He's living proof of what it does. Like, well, I mean, that dude went from like, I mean, I was watching him. I was managing him when he first came out. Like I was managing him and helping him. When I heard those songs, I was like, holy shit, Sam. this is amazing, dude. The world needs to hear this.
Yeah.
And whenever he first started TikTok, I was one of those ones I was like, I don't waste your time, just go play shows, go do this. And I mean, I watched him slave on TikTok over and over again, and then watched him go from 500 people to 100,000. That I remember that first video hitting, and then the second video, and then the third, and then it was just like, holy, like now he's signed to a management company. Now he's, money's rolling in left and right. Things are changing. The whole atmosphere for that guy has 100% changed because of TikTok, solely because of TikTok. I mean, it's him. He did it, but that was the platform that shot him into that atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's great to see it and know that it's real. Like that, no, there was no pushes from anybody else. It was just him organically pushing it onto that platform, and it really worked. It's crazy.
Yeah. And he did a great job of it. And he didn't give up.
No.
It's like right now I'm in like the 400 view jail, they call it. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it'll come back.
He's in it again right now too. He's mad as hell. Like he is mad as hell, and he has the right to be. He has more fans than he's had. He's getting. Sometimes he gets less views on his videos than we do. We have 4,300 followers. He's got 4,000, and they'll stifle his stuff. It's bizarre. I'm sure it's not intentional. It's just some weird roll of the dice sometimes. It's very bizarre.
Or you did something that gets you shadow banned, whatnot. But
how do you know? Who really knows? Who knows? I don't.
Yeah, nobody does, and that's. But what's crazy is like, especially like with like the videos I do. Like I was talking to Gracie York's boyfriend Shiloh, and he was like, "So how many people have you met?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, the one thing it doesn't like blow my mind, but it's just like I care. Yeah. Like when I do like a song of yours and it doesn't do well, it's weird how like I get like upset and angry, you know what I mean? Because like obviously like I love your voice and the songs are great. They're earworms, you know what I mean? Right. Like, and they're really good. And I just like
I've seen it. I feel bad. I've watched you put up like if someone doesn't like enough, you'll go put it together again. Did you miss this video of Jon? I was like, God, he's so awesome, dude. Patrick's my man. But
yeah, it's my.
It's not me. It's just it is what it is.
It did take the one time. I was like, thank God, about time, because it's good. Like, and it's just like I said, like especially like it's someone like you that like comments and you're putting the work in and I'm really trying to do it. And I know like you have a family, so that taking any time away from your family, especially like when you're a musician like yourself on the road, which takes some time, and a little bit older, so am I. Like that's a whole nother. It's like flying.
It is. It's different. And it's a different level of it where you're like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I feel weird. Anytime we're out filming these videos, if I see someone coming around, I'm like, stop. I don't want those people to know.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, I don't care. Let's get this thing over with. We're doing a TikTok.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It works.
Everybody smile. Everybody smile. Yeah. Chase put him down.
Chase put him down. I meant to ask. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. How do you? Because you do the reviews blind, like you don't know the song.
Yeah.
But you know that we put out all these little teasers of these songs. So do you like if you see us do it, do you just like have to zip past it and go, nope, I can't look at it, or do you?
A lot of times I will. Like right now, after that Universal thing, like all like the old stuff, that's all like removed. So it's like but like the newer, and a lot of it is like some of the guys like they don't have like a huge catalog, so it's not like even if I wanted to cherry pick and do the good songs, it's like I can't. But I like listening to it with the camera on anyway. It's funny is like when I get in a car and if it be one of my friends that know what I do, he'll just look over at me and he'd be like, all right, what are we listening to? Because I don't want to piss you off. Because I've wasted like Steel Woods song. My buddy is a huge Steel Woods fan.
That's fantastic.
And I was like, this better not be. He goes, oh, come on, man. I'm like,
he doesn't like the Steel Woods?
No, he loves them, but he knows I've never listened to them. I'm like, dude, this is my content. Like, it's like, it's weird because like I never really got it. And then like when I was talking to Dylan Weldon, he was like, people listen to music differently. He goes, I don't hear half the stuff you're talking about. And it's like, I hardly ever listen. There's a lot of songs that I love that I don't know the lyrics to. Like I know the voice, I know the sounds that are coming out of his mouth.
Sure.
But but like I like the melody of it. And then like it's funny, like when I really sit down, like I've been getting better at that, and like sitting down and listening to some of the lyrics of these songs, I'm like, oh wow, that's a dirty song. That's a song, it's really like that's what he's talking about. And like because a lot of people like he says, he's like, I focus on the lyrics. It is funny, and I always love older female. They'll always say, "Typical guy doesn't listen to the words." I yell at my husband all the time. I'm like,
that's not a typical guy. That's a guitar player. I mean, you're a guitar player at heart. I mean, that's your thing. I mean, you're probably listening to tones and arrangements and production. I get it.
yeah,
I listen to lyrics just because I'm a singer, but I listen to probably a lot of the same stuff you do.
yeah. I do like. I thought I could mix and produce myself to a little. You do a couple of online things and whatnot, and I was like doing like it was some mixing class where they gave you like famous songs, you get to mix them, and I was doing that, and then I got to like the big boy studio, and I was just like, what? And I love that side of it. That is, people don't realize like the one song that we recorded in Nashville, like the snare didn't have enough pop. And this dude goes up to a cabinet with all, I guess they're ADAT tapes. I don't know. And he goes, oh, this got a cool snare on it. And he goes, you see how that sounds different? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, that's the snare from like De La Soul. I said, you mean to tell me the snare drum on our song is from that? And he goes, well, right now it is, because I like this. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Awesome.
Because it was weird, because like the guy's sitting at the board by himself, and he kept looking back because I'm getting closer and closer. And I was just like, hey man, this is cool. He goes, I don't think you're gonna leave if I say it's not. So yeah, but so are you a fan of the studio?
It's like dangerous. It's like learning magic tricks. It's like being, getting all the recipes, but it's intimidating for me too, because some of the guys, like the same guy that produces all Sam's stuff, Zach Keel, produces all of my stuff, and he's a whiz. Like he's like, he'll know exactly. You'll be sitting there watching him, and you're like, what are you doing? And then he'll do something. He'll go and go hit the booth and go hit this for me. We'll do it, and we won't have any idea what he's doing. And then it just turns out, you're like, holy crap, how'd you hear? It's amazing. It's great. Like getting to go into the studio to record a song, it's amazing. From writing a song, and that's still like I love it, but I still I keep telling myself and Zach, I want to go back in and record these songs the way I wrote them. Like I just want to go in and do an acoustic album of just the way I wrote them, because I still want to hear. I want people to hear the way it sounded before he was able to do all that magic to it, because it's a magical thing that they can do in the studio to make stuff.
Yeah,
and I know that a lot of guys aren't even doing that anymore. Like Zach Bryan and people like that are recording just the most naked, real stuff ever, and it sells. It's great. That makes me want to do it even more like that. But man, There's something about the magic in the studio, like getting a well-produced song. Like "Make You Want God" is a perfect example of a well-produced song where you're like, holy crap, dude. I mean, that thing sounds great acoustic, but produced like that, it's, makes the hair stand up when you get to certain sections. It's very cool. I love it. If I could afford to do it more, I would.
Yeah, right. That's another thing. Like, the cost of everything is people don't understand. Like when they're trying to beat you down for a t-shirt, it's like, this pays for me to get to in your ears. You're only doing a disservice to yourself.
I'm terrible at it too. I try to do this all the time. I'm like, just buy the merch, because it goes towards recording. And I'm the first person to give a shirt away if someone asks me for a shirt.
Now, a lot of artists are doing it. Crowdsourcing an album, is that something?
I don't think I'd do it. I don't think, because I don't want I don't know. There's something also just that I have that weird pride of it's the same. Maybe it's not even pride. Maybe it's just control. I just feel like I don't want to have to owe somebody something on this, and I know I wouldn't. It would be, but if it sucks, if it's not as good as it's supposed to be, if someone doesn't like it, it's my fault. You didn't put any money into it, but I just never. I'm envious of the guys that do it. I mean, I remember. I think it was the Red Clay Strays. Like before, we played a show with them years ago in Mobile. They were set up on the floor in this. We were in the convention center. It's like a Mardi Gras thing. They were set up on the floor in this little room. We were set up on the big stage, and playing in front of 5,000 people. They were playing in front of 50. And we walked in that room, and they were crowdsourcing for their album. I think they had just had somehow got like $100,000 or something. It was some ridiculous amount of money that had just come through like that for them. And I was like, oh, you really did. I got it because we were just standing there going, like the first time we saw those guys, we were just beside ourselves, just in awe. That Brandon's voice and just the John Hall, the drummer. Have you seen them live?
Yeah.
It's like they've been like that since day one. Like they're just, you saw them and you were like, these guys are way too big to be anywhere but on a, now they're playing for opening up for the Rolling Stones. That's where they belong, doing stuff like that, But yeah, I watched them crowdsource, and it was one of those things where I'm like, they deserve it. I'm not sure I deserve that yet, but maybe one day, but not right now.
Yeah, it's funny. Their drummer himself is a hype man.
Dude, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's amazing. Standing up, he's getting wild as all get out, wearing his overalls.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw them too. I saw them in the Memphis airport like 3.5 weeks ago. I was catching a 5 a.m. flight, and they were catching a 5 a.m. flight. I was going home on a Sunday, and they were going to Tortuga festival down in Florida. And John, we were all. I wasn't with them. I was in the same airport walking next to them. I was like, hey, it's Red Clay Strays. They were all sleepy because it was 5 a.m. Not John. John's walking around. He's rubbing his tummy. He goes, man, I gotta get some food. There's no food here. Like, he's always up here at 11, dude. He's just it doesn't matter what time of the day. He's just that guy. He's real. It's great. I loved it. I love seeing that.
Yeah. They were down at Mile Zero.
Yeah.
Brandon's tall.
Say it again.
Brandon's tall. I was surprised how tall he was.
Yeah, he's a giant.
Yeah, they're cool. It was funny. I guess they didn't have their wristbands, and they were like telling the lady who they were. And I walked up, and I was like, "Hey," and they're like,
"You got right through," and they were holding them up.
Well, they were. I don't know if they're holding them up. I was just kind of like, "Oh, they just got here, and I don't think they had their credentials." And I just walked out. I was like, "Hey, this is Red Clay Strays," and they're like, "Oh, okay, that's what they said." And they were really nice.
Good old humble boys from Alabama, man. They're good kids.
Yeah. They won a lot of fans that a lot of people had never seen him, and they were like, "Who was that?"
Yeah,
I was like,
Brandon's voice is legit. Like when it projects out of his, it's one of those that kind of comes out of his body, like kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were standing in that room next to him, it was bizarre. I was like, that dude doesn't even need a microphone. It just came out of him, like it was coming out of here, but it was like it was coming out of his chest. It was crazy. It's a unique thing, man.
Yeah, when he got on the piano, I'm a huge piano fan. I was just like, oh man, it keeps getting better. Yeah, and I like his style too. I was saying like it was so windy, and the only thing that didn't move was Brandon's hair. I was like that dude's legit.
He's using egg whites. He's old school and all that.
Yeah, the cigarettes rolled up in the sleeve.
So cool.
Yeah. And they are really, really nice. It's cool to see them Scots just to the moon, like you said, like a Rolling Stones. And
dude, it's so fast too. Like and honestly, I guess I can't say it's so fast because from the time we played with them and they were playing, small little pubs and stuff around Mobile, it's been years. I mean, they've been at it. They didn't give up. But when it was one of those things. It was like as soon as the match lit, it's just. Like I just saw like 2 days ago, they're opening up for the Stones in Gillette Stadium. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah,
Gillette Stadium. You're playing with the Stones at Gillette Stadium. I saw you in a pub with 5 people in it. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
gives you faith.
Yeah, so do you have like a dream venue that you?
Mine is nothing like that. Yeah, my dream venue is Billy Bob's. I mean, Billy Bob's, Green Hall, Cheatham. Like there are places like that from growing up in Texas that, Floors County Store, like the places like that, those are my dreams just because as a kid growing up, Lukenbach, places like that I saw and went to as a kid, and that made me want to be a musician. When I saw Willie at Billy Bob's, when I saw Willie and Chris Christopherson and people like that at Lukenbach, when I saw stuff like that, those were the stages that now I'm like, I just want to go back and play those stages. That's all. I got to play some amazing, venues, amphitheaters and stuff when we did the Nickelback stuff. So I played some big places that I saw killer concerts at growing up, but like nothing like that. That's going to be one of those standing right here. I was out there watching. That's what I'm waiting for. Which smaller rooms. Like, have you been to Billy Bob's? Did you go there when you were in?
I went by it, drove by it.
It's an experience. It's probably not what you would expect if you walk in, but it's just one of those legendary places. Green Hall is another one. But yeah, like those are my venues they're all kind of, I sound like a homeboy, but it's Texas stuff that I've got locked up here that once I can do that, I'll be happy.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be like singing to your little boy self out there in the crowd. Just going around in the loop.
You did it. Yeah. I finally made it up here. Yeah.
Yeah. And there might be another young kid in the crowd with their parents. You're doing the same thing for them.
Hopefully it's not my kid, because I told him, don't you dare pick up a guitar.
What do you want him to do?
My wife wants him to be an engineer, so I think that's probably, she seems to wear the rules around us. So that's what she wants. That's what he's going to have to go for. I mean, he loves watching. He loves to come and see us play. He just came and watched us set up the other day. We played a show up the street, and I let him come sit in with us on the setup and stuff. And he loves it. He thinks it's cool as all get out. I mean, it is because it is. It's being a musician is a pretty damn cool thing to be. So especially to a little kid too. So, but and he can sing too. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, I can sing. My wife's got a beautiful voice. She's just afraid to sing. And that kid though, he can carry a note. If I'm sitting at home tuning my guitar, he just will sit there. He'll find the key and he'll just write with it. He just has it in him. So there's something in him, but it's a tough road to toe, man. I don't know if I would, as happy and as grateful as I am, as much as I enjoy what I'm doing, I don't know if I would wish it upon him. I'd rather him have a little bit more stability and less emotional ups and downs that come along with it,
Yeah. It's a steady paycheck and healthcare.
Yeah. Healthcare is good. You don't got to marry into healthcare.
Oh, man. Yeah.
She's going to see this, so it's okay.
You got benefits? I was happy with the couch.
I did. I got to have back surgery real quick after we got married, so it's pretty good for me. Not out of pain.
It's Steve got his ankle redone, and I sent him bells, like a bell and like a hotel bell. He's like, yeah, my wife is gonna hate these. You can only buy them in packs of 6. So I was like, 6 it is, one for every room in the house.
She just has to keep throwing them away. She goes, where the hell are you keeping these bells?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Patrick sent me a pack of 6.
Oh man. Yeah.
So are you going to do Sam? Are you going to do? Are you talking to him? You going to try to get him on the podcast?
Yeah. Like I tell everybody, like I'll talk to anybody.
Better get him quick before he turns into the red-faced strays and he gets too big for all of us.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that blew me away. I mean, I was totally happy, but I was just like, man, that's great, because the last time I checked, that number was not that big.
No, it happened so fast, dude. Like, it was one of those where I was like, Sam, it takes me a week to get 300 new followers on TikTok. In a week, he had 300,000 new. Like, it was like every time you look at it, it was thousands of just.
Yeah, and
it was crazy.
It's crazy. Not, and like you wake up and you go, like, did my life just change? Like for me, like I had always seen like people like go viral, and then like next thing you know, like that's all they do, and they're driving like sports cars, and I was like, where's my money? Where's my fame? I'm gonna walk into work and be like, I hate working here. I'm gonna listen and play music for the rest of my life, Good day,
I mean, it
sirs.
has been fast for you too, right? Because I don't remember ever seeing your page with low followers. You've always been over a quarter of a million since I've known you.
I had 7 accounts, and I was like, I'm like, one of them's gonna hit, and I just remember telling my buddy, I don't know if you know the story. Like, I started off like mean, like listening to something and be like, this is shit, you know what I mean? And like,
I remember.
and then I was just kind of like, man, I don't want to be remembered. Like, I'm not a mean person. I was like, no one's not gonna know that's like a character. And then like, without me having that just change of heart, I heard like Pecos, and I was like, what is this, experimental? And people are like, nah, man, it's called Texas country. You need to listen to it. And then next thing you know, and then like, it's funny, like it was weird because like I found out like my grandfather liked like Willie Nelson, who's today's his birthday, which
Hey, happy birthday, GB.
yeah, he's, and because people were like, how do you never heard these songs? I'm like, well, you know, not having a grandfather around, you know, older style music. And like back when I was growing up, my allowance was $5 and a CD was $20. I wasn't just gonna go and buy something I never heard, and I was wearing leather jackets, chains, and Obituary and Slayer shirts.
I remember those days going and trying to buy an album and not having any idea if it was going to suck. You just taking a gamble and going, I only like the one song on this.
Yeah, the only time the Wall. Remember, you could go in the booth and listen to it before you bought it.
Yeah,
it's so like you had to love the album. It was such a commitment.
Yeah,
people don't realize that. That's why like it's just all killer, no filler. A lot of that old stuff. And now like I do like it now for the artist because you don't have to put out an entire album and then like tour on it. You can tour off of a single and go hit and then drop another single and then boom, EP it with 1 or 2 more. You didn't spend that much money, and then you can do the same thing again, and then boom, an album with a couple more songs, which you spent less time in a studio. So I do like that. And now it's like I can record anything right now on this laptop, go to DistroKid and hit upload, and it's everywhere. Yeah, and then get on TikTok and promote it. And so I do love that now. But like when people are like, "Hey, you never heard this? I've never heard that," I'm like, listen, I'm from a different time. Like I hated radio. I never and it's funny is like I wish I could get my dad on video without him smashing my phone. But like, because I'd be like, hey, Dad, how come we never listened to this growing up? He'd be like, because it was my FM radio. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That was easy. And it's funny, like he was like a hardcore, he still is a hardcore Leonard Skinner fan. And
that's a good thing. Like
he went to the funerals.
Like the deep cuts of Skinner, then you must know like that stuff. Like because deep cuts of Skinner is good stuff, dude.
It is, and that not so much on the porch in a busy neighborhood when I'm like, turn this down.
We're gonna make friends.
But man, he's made my friends cry when they were like, "You're gonna love this," and he turn it off. Did you just play Kashmir through my stereo? Or the Godfrey Shine Down? Simple. Nope. No. Turn it off. I'm like, all right.
Really? You know, that's a killer version though.
Oh my god. It did. That guy's an amazing voice. Like my buddy manages Peter Keys, who plays with Skinner right now, but it's not Leonard Skinner. Because I told my dad, I was like, "Hey man, like, you want to talk to him? You want to?" They're playing. He lives down the beach, and they do like a big festival, like Boots on the Beach, and Leonard Skinner was there. I was like, I probably could get you to get. That ain't Leonard Skinner. That ain't. I'm just there just to see how terrible they are. Like, I get it. There's no.
I don't think there's one member anymore. Didn't
yeah, I was gonna say it's like his brother and like no original members, but he just went. I think
everybody thinks Ricky Medlock is like an original member. I'm like, he just looks like he's Blackfoot, I think, or like he's not. Yeah, but it's still a good show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, was it really that terrible? You walked 120 feet. Like, yeah, it's funny. Like he's never listened to country ever. And I remember sitting him down and having him listen to Uncle Lucius, Keep the Wolves Away. I just remember, yeah, I remember he was just like, is this the stuff you've been doing on TikTok? I was like, yeah, Dad. And he's like, this is really good. How old is this? And I said, it's not old, Dad. And I said, this is, and then it was Whiskey Myers' Broken Window Serenade. And he was like, this is like kind of like got an Eagles vibe to it. And then it was Shane Smith and the Saints. And I remember him he's like, show me how to work this box. It was my Bluetooth. He walked over and he said, hey, listen to that. He was like showing other people the songs. And they were like, who are these people? Who's this? And I was like, yeah, because a lot of my family, they don't like anything country. Like you say country music, they're just, they don't have any, it's funny. Like now they like hyphenate it. They're like, down to the Texas, the red dirt and all that.
Yeah.
And it is funny that like it's, I go on vacation for the one side of the family that like, I don't mind, like, I can be myself around them. My mom's side, I'm like, yeah. I'll have a tap water. The other side, nah, we're getting roadies when we got a keg in the back of a Nissan Versa. They're like party animals, and I just remember they were like, "What? You mean to tell me we like country music now?" I was like, "Yep, Texas, it's Texas." I said, and there's good ones in Oklahoma and Arkansas and Alabama, but it's just crazy. Like I always there's like I always say like an iron curtain of just it just doesn't get out. Like it was great. Like see, Muscadine Bloodline came up here, and there was a lot of people for that, and I was like, awesome. It's just cool to see like more and more just people understanding that there is good stuff up there. Like I was in a car the other day, and they're not familiar with what I do. And I remember telling them, they're like, oh, so they put country on, and it was like, oh God, I hate this song. And then within the next song, it was literally like square body, drinking, neon lights, stuff. And it was the first line of the first verse. I was like, why? I was like if even when I love Metallica, if they had, if they were singing songs, the same songs, which I thought were almost going to start doing when they did Unforgiven 2. If it's the same stuff, like a lot of like getting out of like listening to like death metal, I'm like, do I really need to listen to another song about this again? And it was kind of like, because I love like books and literature. Like I love like reading like I love like poetry, but like just like the old like beat writers and all those guys, like it doesn't necessarily have to rhyme. Like I always keep it near. Of course, the spines aren't. I always forget names as soon as that record button comes on. He's like a dirty old drunken man, and he's just like through the fire and just stuff like that. I always just like love that. And then like I've always loved like story songs, like Pink Floyd, and there's not a lot of that in this snap clap track. No. Country on the radio. It's funny. It's like
but that's why Muscadine Bloodline and like Josh Malloy and people and Pecos have songs that have over 100 million streams to them. That's why.
Yeah.
Because people and those guys, there's a lot of those clap tracks and those shitty pop country songs that don't and never will. But a guy like Josh Malloy, will have a song with over 100 million streams already.
Yeah.
Zero radio support, zero labels, like in Muscadine, same way, where Port Sweet Angel went through the roof right off the bat. It was just because there's enough honesty and reality to that music that you just can't, I don't care who you are, you can't deny it, man. It's not cookie cutter.
Yeah. It's funny, like starting the whole TikTok thing and hearing these songs. And I finally realized like how people use music therapeutically, especially this damn song.
Such a great song.
Yeah, I love it. A lot of people, talk trash on them, and I'm like, why?
I don't think they listen to it or they don't give it a chance. It's such a familiar song from the minute it plays. It's like, I feel like you've heard it before, but
yeah,
it resonates.
I like his voice. And I like their sound, and they put on a great show. I think what happened was maybe he had a little bit too much to drink a couple of times, and some people that's just like unforgivable for some reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like your best friend. If you can't fight your best friend and still be best friends, you were just never meant to be friends. If you can't break your lead singer's rib.
You're just talking about people that have seen him live and didn't like him or something?
Yeah, maybe he had too much to drink because people are like, oh, I can't hear him lyrically live. He just mumbles. And I'm like, no, I saw him live. And I thought they were fantastic. They were fun. It was at the Speedway and they were dressed like Talladega Nights. I loved it.
I would bet we saw him live twice too. And we saw him once in Oxford, Mississippi. And I swear it is. That dude's voice is definitely, Pecos's voice has got to be hard to mix.
Yeah.
And they were having a hell of a time trying to mix his voice because we were standing right by the soundboard. And I remember that show and I was like, it does not sound good because he was good. The band was great. It was the sound that was subjecting people to go, this sounds like shit. It didn't sound like I said. I get it. I kind of get it with that because his voice is so low that. But if they don't have the right system or whatever they need to mix him, I can see that. I guess. No, I get it. I didn't know that's what you were saying. Yeah, but that's not enough to not like that band and that recording. Not anything they come out with, even all that harder rock stuff, 5 a.m. and stuff. All that stuff is awesome.
Yeah. Sure. He's another tall one. He's tall.
Yeah, he is. He's a big, tall drink of water.
Yeah.
They played in Oxford, Mississippi one night when we were there, and it was them and the Hooser brothers. They all came over they came to our show afterwards, and we got a few of them up on stage with us. And I'll tell you what, Josh Hooser the Hooser boys, they just stole the show. They got up and just killed it. I can't remember who from Pecos got up with us, but once the Hooser boys got on, that kid can sing like nobody's business.
And finally, he's showing everyone he can sing because the first couple of songs I heard from him, I'm like, these guys are good. And then they recently did a couple of songs. I was like, you need to be doing that all the time.
Range, man. He's all over the place. He can do runs. He's crazy good. Yeah.
Yeah, which I get.
Surprising you.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, I've always heard people complain about Stapleton doing too much. I'm kind of like, that's like a fine line. Like, do you ever feel like you're like putting a little bit too much Jon Kott out there, really embellishing your voice?
I literally will do that in the studio where we'll do a take. And it was when we were actually cutting 3 sheets that's about to come out. It was the first time I'd been in the studio with Sam. And I remember cutting parts and I literally I'd get done and we'd listen back to it and they were like, ooh, that's great. I was like, nope, there is way too much of my, with whatever I'm doing. There's too much of me in that. I got a tone and, I for sure, I get it. I feel like, I'm my own biggest critic with it, but I'm not a huge fan of runs. Like I'm not. I don't want to hear someone doing runs all throughout a song. I feel like Stapleton does it just enough. I love Stapleton like that.
Yeah.
I feel like Josh does it really well. Certain people do it really well, and certain people just overuse the hell out of it. But for me, I'll definitely tune back to Jon Kott if I can.
Yeah, and it's got to be hard to gauge too, because you probably don't realize you're doing it until.
No. I'd get done. Like, if I could go back, and that's another thing I'm terrible at, I probably should go back and listen to our shows more because I would probably be 10 times better if I did, but I don't want to. I used to lay in bed in the hotels and my guitar player would be, going through Instagram and he'd be listening to videos that people would be putting up of us. And I would be like, please turn that off. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear me, but I wish I did because as soon as I do go in the studio, when I hear myself, I go, oh, I got to redo that. No.
Yeah, you can end up being your biggest critic.
For sure. And that's the thing. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of a thing. It's working. People are coming back. Things are going fine. It's not that whatever I'm doing is scaring anybody away, so I'm just going to keep doing it. I feel like if I start thinking too much when I'm singing or overanalyzing what I'm doing, it's just not going to be as real. I won't be in there. I like being in the moment when I'm on stage. I like not knowing what the hell I'm going to say next or what I'm going to do. We don't ever have a set list on stage. Guys that have joined this band fucking hate it. But
I was going to say,
yeah?
You being a control freak, you just no set list?
I cannot do a set list. I'll put a master list in front of it. And other venues too, they'll get mad because they'll want to run lights to the songs and stuff. And I'm like, I can't tell you what we're going to play because I don't know. It's going to happen spur of the moment. I'm going to feel the room out. It's going to where we go at that moment. So that's one cool thing. You never see the exact same show, but we don't know where we're going. I feel like if I thought too much about stuff, it would change that. Like, I just don't want to be boxed in kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's nuts.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Just free range.
Free range. And my wife would tell you it's bad. Yeah. My new guitar players, every time I hire a new person, they'll tell you it's bad. They hate it. But it is what it is. Like I said, it's one of those things that seems to work.
Yeah. Whenever I play with someone like that, I'm like, if you move your capo, you show me your guitar neck. And I remember, like, and you hear it once you hit that chord and you look over and you're like, is it me? Is it you? If we had a set list.
Yeah. If we had a set list too, I could probably stop that because I tend to put the capo, if it's later in the show, maybe set 2 or 3 or a few shots deeper into the show, the capo sometimes ends up on the wrong fret on my guitar and I don't notice but they notice. That's when there's problems. Yeah. That's when they're screaming at me going, it's supposed to be on 3, not 4. It's too late. We started the song. So
oh, that's funny. I guess you can read the crowd better too without a set list. And
like I said, that's the way I feel it. I'm not a big fan of taking requests from people either, but it tends to, people love to scream stuff at you on stage. And sometimes if it seems to be the right way to go, I'll follow it. I'm, not saying I won't take requests, but I don't know. Like I said, I feel like if we wrote a set out and people showed up for something that we played in the earlier in the show and they all wanted it later, and then it's like, well, we already played it, and then it's just, I feel like it's better. It's easier to read the room if it's a slow night or if it's busy at first. You never really know until you're there. Like I just couldn't. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one day someone will convince me differently. But right now, I swear to God.
You just never know when a good time to go to the bathroom is at one of your shows.
Definitely not while you're on stage.
Because I know a lot of people, they share their set list. And that kind of like that also, because you can have people be like, well, the second set, that's where all the meat and potatoes is. We'll skip the first.
Yeah. There you go. You just screwed yourself by doing nobody's going to show up.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that. Yeah. I don't think that would happen with us either. People know there's a sweet spot for us. The first set's going to be probably musically. The middle set's going to be where it gets the most energetic and crazy. And then the third set, you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know where we're going to go. There's a good chance we're going to end with Rage Against the Machine or something. We're just going to get super loud and aggressive at the end of every show.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's like Steve. I was like, how was the Jon Kott show? He goes, this has to be explained on a phone call, not text. I was like, so that good, huh?
He was just sitting there. He was like, I did not expect this show to go this way. I'm like, yeah, most people.
That's good though.
It's working.
Yeah. But, hopefully it gets you to Green Hall and all those places.
I hope so. The song that we're about to put out, I have a lot of hope in. We just, for the first time ever, I've hired a radio promoter. I've never done that before. I've just always been control freak, grassroots, kind of let the music do its work and push it out there and hope it works. This is the first time that I've ever hired a music promoter, and he's one of the biggest guys in Texas. So we're hoping that does something, changes something. I feel like we have enough music at this point right now that we could do something pretty bigger than what we are doing. We just need that break. And hopefully that's what this is. This song, Sam wrote this song, 3 Sheets. He wrote it years ago. And it was one of the ones where, because he would, like I said, when I was managing him, he was sending me songs left and right. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? And I was like, that's great. That's great. I have to move on from this, do this. But 3 Sheets was always in there as like, I was like, Sam, it's such a great song. And he went and recorded it and didn't like it. He just didn't like the way it turned out, and he shelved it. And then he put up an acoustic version of it again at one point, and I think it was like Fred Durst came in and like commented on the thing and was like, "Dude, this is fire." And it's like, Sam, put that song out. He goes, "If you like it so much, you put." And I was like, "Well, all right, well then I'll take it." So I took the song, and then as I was doing it more, I was like, "Man, we got to do this together." So putting him together with it, I mean, it helped because that was before he had jumped into TikTok fame.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to help push it, that he's involved on it. And I think we sold it really well together. Somehow I like every song that we've done. I think No Paradise is my favorite song. Killing Time is probably my second favorite song. I liked everything we put out. But this one, I don't know. There's something magical about it to me, and I feel like if it doesn't work, I'm going to be super shocked because it's a great song. I'm excited to see what you think. But as usual, I will probably wait and hide under the covers for about 3 hours before I watch your review.
I'm excited to hear you guys both together because you guys have very, very distinct, unique, and great voices on your.
That's what's so cool. It's two voices that I feel like when you hear Sam, you know exactly who Sam is. And when you hear me, you know exactly who I am. Like we just both have that kind of thing. We don't sound like anyone else.
Yeah.
So putting those together was pretty scary at first. And Zach, I think he was the producer was kind of on the fence with it. But we were all like, when we were in there recording, I remember like day 2, we were like, holy shit, this works. This works really cool. So it'll be neat. It'll be interesting to see. I got, like I said, fingers crossed, that it takes off the way it should. But they're dropping it to radio. Our guy starts pushing it to radio Wednesday. So it's gonna hopefully hit radio stations before it hits streaming outlets on Friday. So we'll see what happens.
Cool.
And then we'll see what you say.
Yeah, dude, I'm actually really excited about it. Is it coming out under your name or?
So we're putting it out under Jon Kott Band featuring Sam Donald. We kicked back and forth for a while on whether we were gonna do it as a duo, and I think ultimately between his management and the sound that he's created right now, he's really leaning into that, the country Cobain thing that he's leaning into, that hard, edgy, gritty country, and this song doesn't really have that edge to it. It's a good song. It's still got some rock edge to it, but not as much as the stuff he's pumping. So I think they wanted to kind of keep that a little bit lower in his DSP. So it'll show up as a feature on his stuff, not as a duo. But yeah. We got, I was telling you that Serato, the guy from Co's band and William, he mixed it. And then in the process of him mixing it too, I was like, man, why don't you throw a guitar solo on there? I didn't think he would bite, but he did. He was pumped, and he ended up hitting a wicked guitar solo on this thing too. So I was pumped about that. I was like, oh, it's so cool that one of those guys that I listened to growing, with all the William albums, and now he's playing on this one too. So it's got all the stuff for me. It's filling it up. And we recorded a really cool music video that's going to be pretty fun.
Oh wow, this is the whole package.
It's the whole package. That music video is legit too. Let me tell you what. That music video, there was no fake drinking in that music video. There was no tea in a cup. There was that thing is real, dude. And that was as real as it gets. It was scary because when we were both like on our heels waiting for our guy JP to bring it back, because we're like, God, I don't know if I want to see this. I do not know if I want to see it. It turned out pretty good though. It made for some very real stuff.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I've enjoyed talking to you, Patrick.
Yeah,
I'm glad I finally got to do this.
Yeah, dude. I love doing these. It's great.
When Steve had told me you were doing this, I was like, I didn't even know. I was like, he's doing podcasts, and then I went and looked. I'm like, holy crap, you're deep into this. You're a natural at it, man. I think you're great. I think you've done some great people too. Did you do Tanner? Did I see it right? Did you do Tanner on one of them?
No, not yet.
You did somebody. I can't remember. You did somebody else. Was a pretty big name that I was shocked that you had gotten them on. Like I said, you got how many episodes now? 50 something?
Yeah, quite a lot. Doing the video, actually, I did Ray's Rowdy Alternative through this app, and I was like, this app's great. I was like, man, because it's easier, like it's more fluid, and like I can see your mouse stop moving, so we're not stepping on each other, which helps. And I like the video, and I also with the audio. It's not a Joe Rogan thing yet, but it is cool because
that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, but a lot of people they do listen to it. It's cool how many a bunch of artists they're like, dude, when we're on the road, we get to listen to our friends, and it's like it's funny. They always laugh. They're like, it's funny because like you don't know anything about anything, and we just find it's just refreshing. What's funny is like with Texas, I always like when I research people, I'm like, man, Texas, everything in Texas, they act like that this is the only place in the world Because I remember reading an article about Colby Cooper, and they say Colby was born in Palestine. And I was like, that's amazing. He doesn't even have an accent. And then I'm like, I can't believe it. Oh, I'm like, I hope that is his family over there? There's dropping bombs over there. And I remember Googling it. And I'm like, Palestine, Texas. Well, you should have wrote that in your report there, buddy. Because me from Delaware, I'm like, no accent or anything. He sings perfect English.
I feel like some of the Whiskey Myers guys are from there too, aren't they?
I don't know. That's a band I can't
It's all
believe.
close to Tyler. That's a band what?
No, it's just a band I can't believe I never heard before. Because they're right up like my alley. Just like I it's just like what I used to call them, my new Motorhead. Just
yeah. They can do no wrong, man. Everything they put out is real. It's great.
Yeah. They're a band I definitely want to see live. I should have went. I didn't want to go see Eric Church. I didn't want to pay Eric Church money to go see him, but they opened up for him, and I'm like, let's have to fight a lot of traffic just to go see them for maybe 45 minutes. I should have went because I was sitting at home like.
They're not headlining their own shows up there.
Not up here.
Really?
Yeah, it is cool. Like Luke Combs taking the Wilder Blue and Flatland and all those guys, giving them a bigger audience. And Zach Bryan plays the stadiums up here. Like I think he's doing with like Turnpike and people like that. But yeah, Willie Nelson's actually having his 4th of July at the same venue, so it's a bigger venue. But hopefully one day we get like a festival. I thought about getting maybe possibly
festival. Festival.
Somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, thank you for the inspiration. We did a Hicks and Heathens festival based off of your TikTok." And I was like, "I mean, this is a great idea." And I'm like,
festival. If you haven't already thought about that, man, that's something you need to start thinking about. That sounds like a great idea.
My buddy, I don't. Everybody my buddy owns Liquid Death, and I haven't seen. Yeah, I went to high school with him. That's what people are like, dude. He does festivals, and I'm like, man, I can't just hit him up after haven't seen him since high school or like when we were like living with each other. Like, hey, man, you know. But like,
I feel like it wouldn't be a gamble with some of the guys you could get up there with the caliber that what would work. Seems like it would be a success.
Yeah, it would be cool, dude. Like the two Amish brothers threw a festival, they had a couple of big names from around our area, and I was like, hey, how much does this setup cost, if you don't mind me asking? He was like, $5,000. I said, for the people, the stage, the sound guys, these trailers, $5,000. He's like, yeah,
that's cheap.
I was
that's
like,
crazy.
What? And he said the hardest part is the location, and he's like, but this is a private farm. And he said, permits? I was like, because you are Amish, did you kind of skate around some laws with that? You know, because I can convert. I'll just turn my power off for
get into bed with those guys too and getting used their land. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, it was a legit festival and great equipment. And like I said, they had sound guys that ran it and lights, a big stage. I was like, $5,000. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I'd be having Pat stock every other month because it did do pretty well.
Cool.
That was a good time.
Well, if you do country versus metal, I want in.
All right.
I want to be the opener.
It'll probably be my band opening. You might recognize me.
We'll play after you or right before you or with you. I don't care. As long as we get to do it.
Yeah, that would be cool. I probably should look into that.
Maybe
one day. Yeah, just time and money. Having the day job really wastes my time.
My day job is taking care of a kid, but he's in school most of the time until coming up here in a few weeks. I'm all right with my day.
Yeah, it's especially when you're in the creative field, you can work at your own pace.
Yeah. Although that sometimes gets a little dangerous because you don't get a whole lot done.
It's like when my dad being retired, I woke up. That deserves a beer. I cut the grass. That's another beer. I'm done cutting the grass. There's another beer. And the next thing you know, he's like, oh, I had a beer. Let's have another. I was like, yeah, you need a hobby, man.
I need to get to that.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up now.
Yeah, no, they get low battery.
I'm looking now at it. Yeah, it's been an hour and a half. You gotta make the kiddo dinner, right?
I gotta feed him dinner. Yeah, and this thing is about to die. For some reason, it just burnt.
Yeah, doing video in these, it does. Yeah, man, dude, thank you. And I'm super excited to hear this song with Sam.
Well, I'm more excited when you hear and what you think about it. Be easy. You're always good at us, though, so I can't say anything. But yeah,
I'm sure.
What you do?
Yep, dude. I can't wait, especially with the music video and the whole thing. I want to see it on the charts. We're gonna put it on the charts.
Yeah, the song it'll be on the chart, and then video comes out on Saturday. The song comes out on Friday, but the video comes out Sunday. So a couple day delay, but let me know what you think of the video too. I'll be interested to see what you think.
I definitely will.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, thank you for coming on here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this thing going for a minute, right?
Yeah, until it says fully uploaded. It shouldn't take that long.
Great.
Yep. Well, you have a good night, John.
You too.
Thanks, man. I'll see you.